What's going on, people? We're joined here today in the Unity sessions by Jayjayborn2sing. How you doing there, sir?
I'm not too bad. Thank you for having me, King Man.
Hey, man, I got to know, first and foremost, why were you born to sing? Talk to me.
Well, I've got a little bit of a cliche story. I started singing at the age of 3 years old. I'm a church boy, organically.
Nice.
So yeah, I was born and raised in the church. But I would say from the age of 3 to about 12, or should I say 11, I was singing in church choirs and stuff. And then I left. When I got to about 11, 12, I decided that I was a big man and I didn't want to do church things no more.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't go back to church, but I was still very much interested in music and singing. And so I spent a lot of time with family, and I've got an uncle called Barry Ford, who is a singer-songwriter as well. And he had a piano in his house. It was an old broken down piano. Definitely needed tuning, but I was trying to pling plong, one finger thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote my first song at 12 years old. And, I got a little bit of publicity, should I say, in a Voice newspaper.
Nice.
But what happened was, I used to sing at lots of birthdays and funerals and celebrations and stuff. And every time I would sing, someone would either be crying or, people would be literally touched by my singing. But I would always have this old woman, always, no matter where I was, not the same woman, but always an old lady would come to me and say to me, make sure you use that voice. Make sure you use that voice for God. And so I did go on to, singing, like continue singing for a little while, but then I thought, I can't bother with all that. So I started a dance group.
What was your feeling though in those moments? Because you're talking about 12 years old, right? Like,
yeah.
What was in your head while you were performing? What was your vibe?
For me, at that age, to be fair, when I wrote my first song at 12, it was about trying to get this girl to be interested in me. That didn't work. It failed.
It goes like that sometimes. It goes like that.
That failed. So when it came to actually just singing at funerals and stuff, I was just doing it because I felt like, I was the child in the family that would always represent the family. Do you get what I mean? So it was like, even if I didn't want to do it, I had to do it. Do you get what I'm saying? Because the family, they were so smart. It would be like, rather than them making a speech at a wedding or a christening, they'll be like, let Jason go and sing.
Yeah.
So for me, for a long time, it was like, okay, I'll do it, because obviously I ain't got a choice. And so there was no enjoyment in it at that time. If I be honest, there was no enjoyment in it until much later on when I became a little bit older.
Okay, so then you said you went and formed a dance group, yeah?
Yeah, so I went to form a dance group. Now, dancing and music is something that's been in my DNA from little. And so I formed a dance group with my cousins and my brother, who were called Jason and the Argonauts. Terrible name, but it worked because there was me and 4 of them. We done a lot of shows. For our age, we done a lot of shows. But then as we were getting, into teenager, adolescence, we all just sort of separated and went our own way. And so I decided to form a dance duo with me and a school friend, and we called ourselves Ninja Steppers.
Okay.
Now, I have to say that we was going on with things, because we opened for Shakademus and Pliers, we opened for Shabba Ranks, we opened for Sanchez. We were doing bits, but life came along and just decided I was gonna have a child. And then that was the end of that.
Interesting one, man. So how comes you ended up returning to music? How comes it's not JJ Born to Dance instead of JJ Born to Sing?
Well, this is the thing. Good question, because even though I was dancing, there was always a tugging, there was always a pulling in me. Like, I knew that singing was something that I was supposed to do, because I could literally feel it. Like, but I could only feel it. I would say from about 19, 20 years old was when I started to have this battle. Like, okay, I'm dancing, I'm doing stage shows and stuff. But there was this little voice in my head was like, don't forget to use that voice. Don't forget to use that voice. And so I was warring for a while, you know? And so I would say probably when I was around 21, 22 was when I said, okay, let me see what I can do with this thing.
So what kind of made you have that tug of war? Because I'm thinking of, say, like I don't want to say MJ, but let's call it like, say, a Usher, Chris Brown, someone like that. What made you feel like the two didn't just mesh together straight away?
But I knew I had a voice because I saw what would happen when I would sing. And I say that without being conceited as well. But I did recognize that, you know, when I would sing at whatever occasion it would be, people would literally just be in floods of tears. And so I knew that there was something special about what I had. I knew I had a God-given talent. I did know that. But I just didn't know, number one, whether it was what I wanted to do, and whether it was something that was the right thing to do. Do you get what I mean? Because I'm a kind of person that if I'm going to do something, I'm going to go ham at it. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm going to go hard. Yeah. And so I wasn't sure whether singing was something I wanted to make a career out of. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. And to be honest, I'm going to be honest with you, though my journey's been long and I've done many things, you know, in my journey, I would say it's only over the last 10, 15 years that actually I'm taking it seriously, because I met a woman called Ruby Lee Ryder. I don't know if you ever heard of her. No. She's an English lady, and she was a session singer for X Factor about 15 years ago. Okay. And our paths crossed, and we ended up in a writing session together. And she was like, "Oh, so what? So what, you doing this music full time?" And I was like, "No, it's just a hobby." And she looked at me and said to me, "What you're doing is a hobby." And I was like, "Yeah." So she said to me, "Well, if you look at it as a hobby, that's what it's always going to be." And those words that the woman spoke to me literally just ruined my life, because now I was having another tug of war. Yeah. Because I'm like, I didn't look at it as a hobby as such, even though that's what I said. But she was like, she was so impressed about the skills that I was bringing to the table. And so she was like, "But if you look at it as a hobby, that's always what it's always going to be." And so I had a decision to make. Yeah, it's an interesting standoff. You know, I think it was the other day I heard a quote. I think it was a Picasso quote where he said, like, everyone's born an artist, and it's kind of just in terms of having to navigate life, you're kind of pulled away from that kind of purity of just being able to freely create, because you're like, oh, like this bill's due, that bill's due. You can't just, you know, that's right, fully run into it. That's right. I mean, for 14, 15 years, I was like a head chef for a residential home. And I kid you not, King, I would have to get up at 5 o'clock every morning. And I'm telling you, every time the alarm went off, I'd kiss my teeth and sit on the edge of the bed for about a good 10, 15 minutes before going to the bathroom. It would take a lot to motivate myself to get up and go to the bathroom and get myself ready to go and work at an establishment where I really didn't want to be, because now at that point I had that conversation with Ruby, and so I'm in the middle of this war. Am I supposed to go into this music hard, or am I supposed to be going to work for Matt? Do you get what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, I get it. Yeah, it's an interesting mindset, and I think everybody has to confront it at some point. The only people that I see are able to skate over it are the people who their kind of hobby or their skill is finances. So it kind of just works. Do you know what I mean? You know, that kid who wanted to be an accountant from in primary school. Yes. And so they do their investment, they do business studies, they have their own like t-shirt printing by the time they're like 13, 14, and like them guys just kind of skate because
the hobby is their art and is financially viable, or they, you know, in our music game, they might become a manager or something like that. But money is always at the forefront. But
Yes.
listening to you talking about singing at 12, I'm sure it was never a financial factor of, oh, okay, I'm not doing that unless I'm paid this much, or
Oh no, 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 not at all. Not at all. I mean, to be fair, that journey's been pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down. It's been a lot of that. Do you get what I mean? Because obviously, like you rightfully said a few moments ago, obviously, you know, you come to a point in your life where you're an adult now, and you got bills, you got responsibilities. I got 4 children. Do you get what I mean? And so that played a major role. Is like, okay, cool, we need to go out and make money. And this is the problem that I had, was when I was doing the chefing, so many opportunities were coming my way, and I wasn't able to do it because I was chefing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I
I
mean?
feel like for them drill guys, we have to quantify chefing these days, you know? Yeah, cooking, yeah?
Cooking, yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
It had a part.
So how long were you away from kind of church life and that kind of thing after you kind of pulled away around 12?
Oh, when I pulled away, I would say I went back to church life from 12. Probably took me about another 15 years to go back.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what was that season like?
What, before I went back?
Yeah.
That season was lots of raving, lots of smoking, just raving and smoking, to be quite honest. There was no productivity in that time. I had a few children in that time. I did manage to get married, but that didn't work either. I guess I got married before my time, so to speak. However, saying that, I wouldn't say that I regret all that went on, because now I've matured and I've learned, you know, that, you know, it takes compromise. But being young and married was hard work.
Yeah, I mean, what made you kind of stop that kind of lifestyle? What made you want to lean back towards the church again?
I think that I had come to a point where my roots have always been in church. That's the thing about it. Obviously, being at church from 3 years old, seed was planted from early. And so there was always this tug of war, you know, always a tug of war, knowing and feeling that what this gift that I've been given, I need to give it back to God, you know, and I need to do it for him. I always felt that, you know, and yeah, I just think that I got to a point of raving was like, how much raving can you do? How much weed smoking can you smoke? Do you know what I mean? Like, how many hairstyles can I have? How many suits can I have? Do you get what I mean? And it just got to a point that I was just feeling like I'm working so hard, you know, to make ends meet, but I'm still making sure that I've got crisp clothes and brand new shoes and and there's weed on the table, and you know, and it just, you know, I mean, I got to a point where we were taking, me and my ex-partner at the time, we were taking our last money and getting it together just to buy a weed. You know, so it got to a point I was like, there's got to be more to life than this. It has to be. And obviously coming from, you know, a Christian background, my aunt was always in my ear, come on, like, give your heart to the Lord, give your heart to the Lord. And I was like, not ready. I'm not ready for that. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
But there came a time where I just knew that it was time.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, so it's interesting. I guess, would you say it's an issue of fulfillment? That it was giving you fulfillment and then it no longer did?
What's that? What part?
The kind of the lifestyle of the raving, the weed, the everything else.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, music has always been something I love, and I still love music now. And you know, I mean, obviously, I'm very mindful of what I listen to now. I still listen to secular music the same way. But I pick and choose, and refuse, as you call it. You know, music is something that I just love. I love, you know, creative arts. You know, I love songwriting. I love how people put things together, and I love to listen to how people's their minds work, and you know, and how it's laid out and formatted. And so so I would say that, you know, that yeah, there was fulfillment, definitely, but I just felt like there was a part of that lifestyle that was taking me down a road that I really didn't want to go down. Do you get what I mean? You know, girls holding up women and smoking and just not caring about nothing in life. Just, you know, it was a. I mean, I used to rave from Wednesday to Sunday every week.
Wednesday, yeah. It's
Wednesday,
commitment.
I used to rave on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday every week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, yeah. There was a sense of fulfillment, but then, but how, like I said, how much more raving can you do?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah,
And so,
hey.
yeah.
So what lessons would you say you learned in that kind of season that you could pass on to people who might still be in that season now?
I mean, for me, I personally, I just, you know, I honestly feel that, you know, going out there and experiencing life is not a bad thing. It just depends on what part of life you're gonna take on and experience, because, you know, there are many roads in life that we can go down, and some of them lead to some madness, and some of them lead to some goodness. I just think that finding yourself, what I would say to someone is finding yourself is very, very, very important, because we do go through a time in life where we are many different people because we want to please that person and we want to hang out with, because you know that there's that saying that says, show me your company and I'll tell you who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes in life you have many different people as company, and you are trying to please everybody that's your company, which now means your personality is split in so many different ways. And so now you never get the opportunity to find you. Do you get what I'm saying? And so my encouragement would be in life's road, yes, go out there and experience life for yourself. But one thing that I've learned is you have to put yourself first, but you must find yourself. In order for you to put yourself first, you have to find who you are.
Hey. Yeah, so we walk along the line. You start taking music more seriously in terms of your approach.
Mm.
How have you felt about your career since then? What are the things that you've managed to achieve that you feel the most proud of?
The achievement is I'm just gonna warn you now, King Junior. I'm a very emotional man.
You go ahead, man.
I'm a very emotional man. I'm very, very, at this point in my life, I'm very, very proud of the achievements. I mean, I will say that in 2009 I was diagnosed with MS, with multiple sclerosis,
Wow.
and that knocked me hard, big time.
So if you give us a little talk through about exactly what does that entail, for those who don't know about MS.
Well, MS is a disease of the nervous system, but there's many different types of MS, and the one that I was diagnosed with. Now, one thing that I will say that I don't call it my diagnosis, because I don't attach it to me. I recognize it as what it is, and I recognize the diagnosis, but I don't call it mine. So the diagnosis that I was given, basically, when I had a brain scan, they found, you know, in our body we have antibodies, and as we know, the antibodies are designed, the white cells are designed to attack, you know, any foreign bodies that's in the body. The antibodies come alive and they attack and want to correct what's incorrect. And some point in my life, one of those antibodies has gone up into my brain.
Wow.
And so what's happened is, what happens is when we get a cold or a flu or a virus, the antibodies go into attack mode. So that one antibody that's in my brain, if I get a cold, if I get a virus, or if I'm too stressed or angry or mad, that white blood cell comes alive and starts to attack the nervous system.
Wow, man.
And so what happened in 2009, I was going to work, and just felt this really heavy feeling in my head, even though it was bright as, you know, the brightest day, it just felt like a dark day. And I found myself very unbalanced in my walking and felt like I just wanted to constantly sleep. Terrible headache, body was overheating. even though when I was taking my temperature was reading normal, but in my body, I felt like I was on fire.
Mm.
And so I went through this dizzy spells and just, I couldn't eat, felt like I wanted to vomit, couldn't go to the toilet until this went on for about 13 weeks. I was just going to and fro to the doctors. I was changing doctors to try and get an answer until when I changed to the last doctors, and the doctor said to me, I'm sending you to the hospital immediately. And so I got taken to the hospital. I had a brain scan, and yeah, it came back as MS. And so at that time, I had 3 lesions on the brain, which is basically damage to the brain.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, I've got a further lesion on the brain. So now currently there's 4 lesions on the brain.
Wow. That's a lot, man. I mean, so how do you conceptualize that? How do you deal with that now?
But what I will say is, when the consultant came around with the diagnosis and said to me, showed me the scan, and I could literally see my brain, which is a big brain. I'm really proud to say, nice big brain. There's lots of stuff up there.
Yeah.
When he showed me the scan and told me what the diagnosis was, naturally, obviously, I started to cry. And this man, I thank God for this man, because he looked at me and said to me, "Don't cry." And in my mind, I'm thinking, "Are you mad? Do you want me to headbutt you, mate? Because you're telling me that the diagnosis is MS and you don't want me to cry." And he broke it down for me. He said to me, "Listen, you can live a healthy and fruitful life, but it's about your mindset." He said, anything that's considered to be negative, stressful, strenuous, he said, get rid of it. He said, I don't care who it is. He said, family, friends, partner, job, anything that's considered to be stressful, negative, get rid. And I've just literally held on to that kid. Honestly, that man was God sent, because what it allowed me to do is to get more in check, more in tune with me, how the body functions and how the body responds to certain things. So certain things I don't get wrapped up in. Obviously, life comes along and life throws certain things at you, and you got to deal with it. And you can't pretend that you're not feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
Can't pretend. And so sometimes, I might get into an argument, or something negative might happen, and the body responds in a certain way. And he's taught me that if I get bad news today, and I responded like that, I feel shocked and I feel hurt, that the after effect won't be now. It'll be probably like next week or the week after that I start feeling like I'm going down the hill. I'm like, okay, cool. So I've learned about me. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I've just, I've changed my environment. I've cut off friends. Kingman, I've cut off 98% of my family. Kid you not, it was the hardest thing for me to ever do. Not because I don't love them, but because I have to look after me. Do you get what I mean? And so it was a decision that I had to make, and I've literally changed my whole environment.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like, I don't know if the doctor came from a Christian perspective, but we do know biblically we get shown even the appearance of evil,
Right.
Which sounds like a similar parallel. And I know how it is from a Christian perspective. Often we're burdened in a way by the grace that's been given to us in order to try and portray that to other people.
Woo.
Yeah, but what you're saying, man, I can definitely relate as well to what you're saying. So
Wow.
yeah, I think you have to, man. Like there is, if your health is gone, you have nothing much left after that, man.
That's right, King. That's right. And so, I've learned in life that, you have to say no. There's nothing wrong with saying no. There's nothing wrong with saying, you know what? I don't like that, and I don't want that. There's nothing wrong with it. It took a lot. It took a lot to get here, but you know what? I make no apology for the decisions that I've had to make for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know time is tight, but before you go, man, I have to ask you, the Black Man track. Talk to me. What was the thinking behind it? What was the mindset?
You just threw that in nicely. It's funny because the Black Man track, I'm not that kind of guy that goes into that, you know, that black and white stuff. I never have done. But naturally, because of what was going on, you know, at that time in like 2020, with the George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter and all that movement. I mean, obviously we were seeing it daily on our screens, and I had nothing ever better to do because we were on lockdown, right? So I'm watching and I'm thinking, you know what? Yeah, I'm not gonna get into all this stuff, but I actually am proud of the color of my skin, and I just wanted to write a song that encouraged not just us as, you know, of color, but anybody of color to celebrate whatever your melanin is. Do you get what I'm saying? Whatever the color of your skin is, celebrate it. And so how Black Man started off was a 58 freestyle snippet that I put on Instagram.
Okay.
Literally, it was a 58 second. Obviously, at that time, Instagram was only 58 seconds. So I done a little freestyle, and my producer came back to me and said to me, "Yo, listen, Jay, you see that freestyle that you just done? We need to make that as a tune." And so that's how it came about. So yeah.
It's an interesting one, man. Like, what would you like the legacy of that song to be?
But you know what? Like I said, I'd love people to understand that though I'm talking about the color of my skin, that doesn't exclude the color of your skin. You know, if you do not be afraid to let people know how great the color of your skin is and what it represents and what it means to you. You know, and I'm blessed to say that I've been approached by a movement called Father Figures. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. And their focus is on Black fathers, which is not a problem for me. And they've approached me and they've taken the song Black Man to make it part of their documentary.
Nice.
Because what they've done, they've chosen 5 Black men from 5 different walks in life and interviewed them about their struggles of trying to be a father, a Black father. And so, yeah, me and my producer Morpheus, we're blessed to say that, you know, that the song has been taken. There is interest coming from other angles as well, but at present, Father Figures have taken it and made it part of the documentary. So we're just waiting for the release of the documentary. So yeah.
Yeah, that's nice, man. I think part of the reason I ask you, because I know it, to kind of speak that truth, sometimes you have to step into an uncomfortable space, and it can even be an uncomfortable Christian space.
Yes.
I think it was Eshon Burgundy I heard the other day saying, you know, it may not sit well for you and your theology, but God made man from the African dust. Like just as something to digest. Yeah, as something to digest conceptually, you know. And I think often, you know, as an artist, you may feel almost it's definitely not shame, but it's almost, you know, that feeling of not wanting to cause hurt by accident. So it's kind of like, if you say you have to be proud to be Black, but you should be like, oh, but it's okay to be white. It's okay. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. I understand that. And this is what I'm saying. I mean, it's funny because, do you know, obviously there's a woman on the track called Verna Morgan that does the spoken word part.
Yeah.
And would you believe that she got into an altercation, a verbal altercation with a sister from the body of Christ that actually totally was against the song.
I can believe that.
but I understand it.
Yeah.
I get it. For me, I'm just like, you know what? Everyone's at different points in their walk and in you know, in their life, and so some people may not receive it the way that others may, and I get it. And I'm not upset with those folk that are upset. Do you get what I mean? Because I've learned also in life that you can't tell someone how to feel. That feeling is their feeling, that it belongs to them. And so if they feel like, all I can say to that person is, my intention wasn't to hurt you. My intention was to celebrate who I am. However, if you feel hurt by it, I'm sorry, but I can't help you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not being rude at all. But your feeling is your feeling, and you're entitled to that. But guess what? I'm also entitled to celebrate me.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. You know, we always end by asking the question, how can people pray for you? How can people pray for you, your ministry, what you're doing?
Wow. King, I've never been asked that question ever.
For real. It's an important question. It's an important question as a body of Christ, man.
Wow. Do you know what? All I would ask of is just to pray for my spirit man, you know, my inner man. As long as my inner man is okay, then JJ will be okay. I believe that. I believe that from the spirit man is, you know, 100, then JJ is 100. So please continue to pray for my spirit man.
Yeah, 100%. So, yo, Jayjayborn2sing, man, thank you so much for joining us today. Make sure you check out his music, fresh album out. Hey, the photo and the cover art's real nice as well, man.
This is thank you. This is something that I because I had my album launch in June.
Yeah.
It's something that my friend got done for me as a surprise. He brought it to the launch, and I was like, whoa. Yeah, there's loads of pictures you just can't see, but there's loads.
Yeah, real nice, man.
Bless you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So yeah, go check out the music, go listen to him. You can hear Black Man there. He's out everywhere, all digital outlets. Just do your searches, do your thing, you'll find him there.
Thank you very much. And thank you for having me, King Man. You know, you and I need to stay connected. I need to talk to you differently.
No, 100, man. We here.
Right, yeah, bless you.
Man. Bless
Thank
up.
you very much.
Thanks for watching, you guys. Take care out there.
Bless you. Bless you.